Hi, my name is Chris Croats and welcome back to Basic. Today I want to cover the myth that porn addiction is a victimless crime. That you can think to yourself, well, it's just me and my time, it's not hurting anybody, and that simply isn't true. Porn and porn addiction has been linked to several things such as sexual assault, rape, sexual abuse, and even murder. We now know that one thing that links several serial killers is their exposure to pornography and how it molded them to start doing their heinous acts. Ted Bundy said this: "I've lived in prison for a long time now, and I've met a lot of men who are motivated to commit violence. Without exception, every one of them was deeply involved in pornography, deeply consumed by the addiction." Ted Bundy was exposed to softcore pornography magazines at age 12, and he admitted that it helped mold and shape his violent behavior. With Ted Bundy, we also have examples like Jeffrey Dahmer. Jeffrey Dahmer, the serial killer out of Wisconsin, said that he would use pictures of his past victims and pornography videos that he made and magazines to get him in the routine of hunting one of his victims. Another serial killer out of Wisconsin, Ed Gein, some term as the first serial killer, aka the Butcher of Plainfield, the inspiration for movies such as Psycho and Maniac and The Silence of the Lambs, he accumulated a library of anatomy books, porn magazines, and horror and adventure novels back in the 1950s. The serial killer known as the BTK, or the Bind, Torture, Kill, Dennis Rader of Kansas, he killed 10 people. He said that he kept meticulous records of his fantasies and crimes in what he called his motherlode collection of pornography. Now, I want to be clear that not everybody who watches porn becomes a serial killer. Obviously, I mean, we know that. And I think actually thinking of people in this light that, okay, if you watch these videos, then you're going to want to kill someone one day is actually very damaging. But what this should do is show an end game that if left untreated, and if it's taken to the extent that we know is possible, because the dopamine always craves something new, this is what is possible if you don't treat your pornography addiction. Nobody wakes up and decides they want to be a serial killer. It's a progression. It's a desensitizing that comes from watching hours and hours of porn videos and treating people like objects rather than human beings. And porn has been linked to sex trafficking and these types of rapes and murders from serial killers. Along with this, we have the rising problem of erectile dysfunction in our country today. It seems like more and more people, even young people, are having problems with erectile dysfunction. And one researcher said that it was most likely due to the fact that the things that young men are seeing on the internet nowadays cannot, or real life cannot compete with those. And so they have a hard time being even aroused by the sight of a naked woman that isn't doing the things that they see online. Another report that I would think is rather obvious is that porn watching leads to declining grades among college students. And also, researchers have been seeing the symptoms of PTSD in the wives of porn addicts. That the same thing that is going through the mind of a soldier coming back from Iraq and Afghanistan, that same type of damage can be done to a wife of a porn addict just by hearing that their husbands have been watching these things and acting out to them. And finally, I think one of the most telling statistics that shows that pornography is not a victimless crime is the sexual assault happening on our college campuses. They average 1 in 5 women will be sexually assaulted during their time in college. That means that this year alone, over 100,000 college women will be sexually assaulted. Sexual assault has been on the rise on our college campuses over the last few years, and although the correlation between sexual assault and porn use it doesn't necessarily mean causality. It doesn't take a genius to figure out that if our young men are consuming porn, especially violent pornography at young ages, by the time they get into a target-rich environment like college, where women are being encouraged to drink and to live it up, that they start acting out a lot of the fantasies that they've been seeing and viewing on the internet. Sexual assault on our college campuses is a huge result, at least in my mind and a lot of other researchers' minds, of our pornography problem and pornography addiction today. In our next video, we're finally going to start looking at the answer. What's the answer to this pornography problem or pornography addiction that we have today? We've looked at a lot of the science behind addiction. We've looked at its effects, and finally we're going to look at the reason why the advice of just pray about it and read your Bible more is ineffective when it comes to pornography addiction. I hope you keep watching these videos. If you have any questions, please reach out to us at chris@whenimweak.org. This has been Basic. We will see you next time.